Hi, ghouls. Happy October. It is officially October, officially fall. Mayben was last week. So I want to welcome you back to part two of my fall 2025 TBR. So I'm going to briefly go over the books that I'm reading, what my plans are this time around. This will now be a three-part series. So first off, I mentioned this book the last time we spoke. So this is The Monk by Matthew Lewis. And it is actually one of the first Gothic novels. So it's a Gothic romance. It was written in the late 1700s. So I added this to my TBR last year. Um, any kind of Gothic story I'm going to want to read. And this just felt like a really good place to start in terms of like a historical Gothic novel. So I'm really excited to read it. I did not get a chance to read it last year because, like I said, I ran out of time and motivation. But this year we're doing so much better. Next on the list is The Compound. So this was a book of the month. So this is The Compound by Aisling Rawl. It is a fiction book. I don't know too much about it. It is kind of like basically reviewing like a reality show. Not reviewing it, but like it's the setting is a reality show, and the main characters are participating in the reality show. I haven't read any books like that. I'm not a huge reality show fan, but like I do love like The Challenge, Real World back in the day. I'm not a huge fan of like Housewives or anything like that, but the competition style shows when they first came out, I was very, very into Survivor. I like wanted to watch it. Like I remember being excited when it was Survivor night when it first came out, and I was in like elementary school, I think. So this interested me given that it is, kind of a reality show rooted book. So really excited to get into that since it's the first one like this I've read. If you guys have any other reality show recommendation books, please leave them down below. I definitely want to kind of expand my genres that I like to read, and I think this would be a fun one. Okay, next we have got Blood on Her Tongue. I mean, can we talk about that cover? I'm obsessed. It's beautiful. I'm pretty sure it is a sapphic vampire book, which that's all I need. I my favorite books are usually lesbian books, if I'm going to be so honest. I don't want to read the back of it because I kind of like going into it with just a very general idea. Um, but yeah, so that's next. Very excited about this one. One, because of how beautiful the cover is. And anything with vampires, queer representation, I'm almost always going to love. This is by Joanna Van Veen. So very excited about that. And then I am introducing a new segment into this. So just to give you a little background, I have like my literary bookshelf, and then I also have my witchy bookshelf, and that has a ton of beautiful and wonderful witch books, and I've read, I want to say probably 60% of them. I don't know if that's a generous percentage or not, but we'll find out. And I have this really bad habit of like buying a new witchy book, starting it, really enjoying it, and then I get distracted. I have ADHD. I don't know what you want from me, but I thought it would be really fun to help hold me accountable, adding a segment in where I add a witch book into my TBR, and that way I am staying on top of getting through my witchy TBR as much as I am like my regular fiction TBR. So this one I've actually almost finished. So I'm 3/4 of the way through this one. The last time I read it was last year. So it's been a year since I picked it up. This is The Poison Path Herbal, Baneful Herbs, Medicinal Nightshades, and Ritual Entheogens by Kobe Michael. Kobe Michael, I've actually heard speak before. I can't remember what company put it on, but it was like a horticulture, horticulture class that was remote in like 2020, 2021. It was super, super interesting. And Kobe Michael was one of the speakers. At that point, I picked up this book because I am a big fan of poisonous plants. I love growing poisonous plants. I love working with poisonous plants. I think they are stunning. So I have a ton of different poisonous plants books. This one is honestly like pretty top tier for me right now. I have one other one that I also really loved, but I'll be finishing this book in this vlog, and then I will kind of go over like a rough outline of what the book is about and what you might like about it if you're into any kind of witchcraft books. Yeah, so stick around. We'll be talking about the books. This will be a spoiler-free vlog. Exciting! Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back, and we'll speak soon. The Monk, a Romance is a Gothic novel by Matthew Gregory Lewis, published in 1796 across 3 volumes. It tells the story of a virtuous Catholic monk who gives in to his lustful urges, setting off a chain of events that leave him damned. It is a prime example of the type of Gothic that specializes in horror. Okay, so I'm about 2/3 of the way through The Monk. I kept meaning to like stop and update y'all earlier and kept getting distracted. So let me break down the first 2/3 of the book for you so far. What I will say, it is written obviously very old-fashioned language, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to get through. So I'm not getting through it as quickly as I normally like would with a regular fiction book. It is actually helpful to listen to it on audio. I don't know if it's because I just have watched so many historical dramas before, because I love a historical film, but it's easier for me to ingest the audio version of it versus the written. But just thought that was helpful. If you're like me and like a good old historical drama, you might want to listen to it on audio. Um, so far, it is very good. The first half of it felt very soap opera, which I was kind of not expecting at all. Like I was expecting it to be way more gothic from the start. And it wasn't. Like it started off, there's a few different storylines that we're following that are all kind of connecting into each other at this point. Um, Sorry, my dog's running all over the place. But very soap opera-y, a lot of drama, and I wouldn't say like spookiness didn't happen until like halfway through. Up until that point, we were just kind of talking like romance, a little bit of drama. Not a little bit, a lot of drama. There were a few times in the beginning where I literally gasped out loud at what was happening. So it is very interesting. It took me a minute to get into it, but now I'm like very into it, and I'm really excited to see where it goes and what happens. I'm gonna go more in depth later when I check in with y'all. Um, there was one part at the beginning that I flagged that I wanted to bring up because it pissed me off. Like I know this was written in like the late 1700s, but still. Um, she was wise enough to hold her tongue. As this is the only instance known of a woman's ever having done so, it was judged worthy to be recorded here. uh Fuck, excuse you. So that pissed me off, but I flagged it because I was like, okay, we're 20 pages in and we're dropping this, but up and like it hasn't been too bad after that. So I'm curious to see if it ends. I mean, there's definitely some problematic things that are happening, but I will check in with you when I'm done. I've got like a third of it left. I'm gonna try and finish it by tomorrow. um and I will check in with y'all. Bye. That's a sad dog. That's a very sad dog. Do you want attention? Okay, I'm gonna go give her attention. Hi. Okay, so I am officially done with The Monk. It's upside down. The Monk. I ended up rating this 4 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it quite a bit. Once I got through like the kind of flowery language, I could honestly talk for a really long time about this book. So a couple things I want to call out, spoiler free, is that it's interesting to me that this book is called The Monk when There are two pretty defined villains in the book itself. One is a monk and one is a nun. So I did find it interesting that the book was named The Monk, despite the nun being just as fucked as the monk was. I could go into depth on this. So if you guys want me to do like a deep dive and really go through my entire thoughts, spoiler vlog of this book, leave me a comment down below, and I will work on putting that together. Otherwise, I would recommend reading it. For the most part, like I mentioned before, I would recommend listening to the audiobook version. It was easier for me to do, although it took longer because I read faster than people speak. I would also not suggest listening to the audiobook version of the second to last chapter, which I did and had regrets. I would have preferred to read that section to myself. Those are the points that I wanted to cover. I am curious to see like when this book came out, how it was kind of received by the general public, just because it does it. I mean, it's not graphic because it was like written in the late 1700s, but it does feel like more than I would expect. It is interesting because at the very end, it has like a little like kind of recap of the history around this time. And it does say in its day it was a scandal, a debauched and hideous tale of a corrupting priest that tantalized London. That it was written by a 20-year-old member of parliament only heightened its infamy. The impact was profound and immediate. Other writers in the Gothic genre began penning their own sensational accounts, blah, blah, blah. So, like I said, I'm willing to do a deep dive if you guys want the spoiler version of it. If not, go out and read it. It's pretty good. Trigger warning, but it's pretty good. I'll see you guys soon. Lily, a bored, beautiful 20 something, wakes up on a remote desert compound alongside 19 other contestants on a popular reality TV show. To win, she must outlast her housemates while competing in challenges for luxury rewards, such as champagne and lipstick, and communal necessities to outfit their new home, like food, appliances, and a front door. The cameras are catching all of her angles, good and bad, but Lily has no desire to leave. Why would she when the world outside is falling apart? As the competition intensifies, intimacy between the players deepens, and it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between desire and desperation. When the producers raise the stakes, forcing contestants into upsetting, even dangerous situations, the line between playing the game and surviving it becomes to blur. If Lily makes it to the end, she'll receive prizes beyond her wildest dreams. But what will she have to do to win? Hi. So I am about halfway through the compound. Just finished part one, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So it definitely feels like a reality TV show that would be on now. The fact that they have to like work and earn rewards feels something like we would see on television right now. The interesting thing is, it feels like there's something dystopian happening in the background, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on and what like kind of timeline we're living in right now. Um, the concept of the TV show itself is very like interesting to me. So I'm curious to see what's going on in the background. I feel like there's definitely something happening or something that we just don't know about. I don't know. I feel like there's a twist coming, so I'm definitely it's very readable, so I'm definitely, like, very stuck in and can't wait to see what happens next. Um, like I said, it feels very dystopian, but it's interesting because it's, like, the jobs that the people have, like, their careers, um, it doesn't feel dystopian, like, it feels like regular jobs that people have nowadays, but then they mention something about, like, wars, and I'm like, "Well, I mean, who knows what's going on? We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna pick back up and I'll let you know how it goes. Hi. So I have just finished The Compound by Aisling Rawl, and I'm going to end up rating it a three. Yeah, a 3 stars. I really enjoyed the first half of the book. It kind of was giving that there was more going on behind the scenes that we were going to find out about later. And unfortunately, it kind of felt like it was building up to something that just kind of petered out at the end. Like it really wasn't giving me everything I wanted. I felt like there was some storylines that weren't like fully explored. I don't want to get into any spoilers or anything like that, but it felt like it was alluding to stuff that was happening in the background or stuff that had happened before the story started that we would be filled on in later on, and it just never really happened. Kind of a bummer because I really enjoyed the first half, and I thought that she could do some really interesting stuff in the back half of the book, and it just kind of felt like it just wasn't really giving anything at the end. So 3 stars. I would still recommend it. It's still interesting. It just wasn't everything that I wanted it to be, which I guess is fine for them. I'm going to go ahead and start my next book, and then I will be checking in with y'all shortly. The Netherlands, 1887. Lucy's twin sister, Sarah, is unwell. She refuses to eat, mumbles nonsensically, and is increasingly obsessed with a centuries old corpse recently discovered on her husband's grand estate. The doctor has diagnosed her with temporary insanity caused by a fever of the brain. To protect her twin from a terrible fate in a lunatic asylum, Lucy must unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's condition, but it's clear her twin is hiding something. Then again, Lucy is harboring secrets of her own, too. Then the worst happens. Sarah's behavior takes a turn for the strange. She becomes angry and hungry. Lucy soon comes to suspect that something is trying to possess her beloved sister. Or is it madness? As Sarah changes before her very eyes, Lucy must reckon with the dark, monstrous truth or risk losing her forever. So I'm about halfway through, not halfway, I'm a third of the way through the Blood on Her Tongue book, and I'm really, really enjoying it so far. It doesn't seem sapphic yet. I don't know if that's going to change. TBD. I'm really hoping it does, just because I tend to enjoy that, like I mentioned before. But the book itself is very good. Like, it's definitely a vampire story, and it's done in a different way than what I've. It's like a creative, unfamiliar kind of trope that they're doing. So good so far. I will check in with you guys shortly. Bye. I am speed reading this book. It is so good. I can't put it down. I'm currently 2/3 of the way through it right now. I'm about to go to dinner and drinks with friends, and I feel like I may finish it tonight when I get home. It's very likely I will finish this tonight because it's very good. I'm really enjoying the cast of characters. I'm really enjoying the setting of it. It's like 1800s. They're talking about medieval times. It's gothic. It's like everything that I love in a book like this. So, yeah, really good choice. Excited that I picked it up. I will check in with y'all as soon as I am done reading it. Bye. Okay, it's late. It's also the next day. Ended up being kind of tired last night, so did not finish the book. But I just finished it today, and it is so good. I'm giving it 5 stars. Um, Also, let's talk about this bookmark that I got to go along with the book itself. It's stunning. It's from OpenSea Design Co. Anyways, this book, so good. 5 stars. Literally gave me everything that I would have wanted. I'd read a sequel to this. I think that it's left open for that. I don't think the author is going to do that, but I would 100% be down to read it because it was very good, sapphic, vampire. I enjoyed the way that they kind of talked through the vampire piece. It was different than at least in my experience and what I've read, it was a different type of way to describe vampirism. So, really interesting, very creative. Love. 5 out of 5. Recommend it. Okay. Next, we're going to be reading The Poison Path Herbal. So, like I talked about before, I'm about 3/4 of the way through this book. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a quick refresher for myself of the first 3/4 of it. From what I remember, it was a really good reference in terms of different plants and how to use them in different recipes. So I'm going to do a refresher for myself around that. Then I'm going to read the last quarter of the book, and I will be back to talk you through my thoughts and when I would recommend reading it. So see you guys soon. Bye. Hi, welcome back. So I did go ahead and finish the Poison Path Herbal. I really, really liked it quite a bit. I'm going to kind of give you an overview what this book would be helpful for if you're interested in picking up anything around poisonous plants. So I'll say it is broken up into 3 different parts. So the first part is basically basic knowledge, history of poisonous plants. It gives you the background around witch's flying ointment, which is kind of what started the myth that witches fly on broomsticks. Back in like I want to say the 1600s. So it gives the history of that. And then it also gives you a recipe for witch's flying ointment, which not a lot of these books typically give out recipes. So I really enjoyed that about this one. Part 2 is broken up into 4 different parts. Basically what it does is it breaks out the poisonous plants into 3 different categories. So the first is technically the Book of Saturn, second is Book of Venus, and then the third is Book of Mercury. And basically what it's doing is it's breaking out those plants based on their physical characteristics and what they do in terms of ritual use and healing use. And then the 4th section is other herbs that may not necessarily be poisonous or baneful herbs, but they are herbs that are used quite a bit in witchcraft and rituals. All of those sections have, each plant, how to use the plant, recipes for that plant. So it's a very, very good reference book. The very last section, part 3, is like how to prepare each herb for usage, how to like harvest each herb. So it basically tells you like everything that you need to learn or know in order to work with these kinds of poisonous herbs. It also kind of goes over how to determine the alkaloid content for dosages. That's the biggest thing that's the most important when working with poisonous plants. So obviously we're not trying to kill anybody. So making sure that you know how to use dosages correctly is important when working with poisonous herbs. Like I said, it also goes over harvesting and then cultivation, like how to plant, what kind of conditions each poisonous plant thrives in, that sort of thing. So this is I've said it a million times, this is a very helpful how-to book on how to work with poisonous plants. At the very end, the conclusion, it's like a 2-page conclusion by Kobe Michael. And he has a line in there that I really enjoyed, that the dose makes the poison. Just because these plants are poisonous doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't be working with them. We should be respectful, and we should be educated, and we should know what we're doing when we're working with them, but they can still be helpful. So a plant can either heal or kill depending on the dosage. Loved it. So what I did, I also brought out a couple other poisonous plants books that I have on hand and that I've read, so that I can kind of like show you the differences. So this one, like I said, really, really good for how to use, really good reference book. Like I've like marked this up quite a bit. So this is one that I'm probably going to have out on a pretty consistent basis whenever I'm working with different rituals, different plants, and etc. This next one, so this is Botanical Curses and Poisons, The Shadow Lives of Plants by Fez Inkwright. This book is stunning. Look at how beautiful it is. It's gorgeous. So this one is mainly more of history and not a how-to. So this is history, folk stories, where plants are referenced, and it also has illustrations. Yeah, so this is talking about Lily of the Valley, and it's got illustrations of Lily of the Valley. I love this book. I think it's just so pretty. It's just so pretty, and it's really beautiful in terms of its content as well. It has different like poetry snippets referencing different herbs. So it's just a beautiful book to have in general. And then this last one, this is called Beneficium. This is a book I had on my wish list for quite a while. It's by Daniel A. Schulke. I would say that this book is more historical and more scientific. So if you enjoy reading really heavy scientific kind of content, then this book would be good for you. That's not necessarily what I wanted this for. So it was a little bit of a slog for me to read it. Obviously, I'm going to keep it around, but it's not a fun read. It's more of just like a scientific, historical type of read, I would say. But oh, and then also I wanted to show you this. I know I've showed you bookmarks in this video, but I got this from Creeping Moon and I was using it in Poison Path Herbal. I love a good bookmark and I'm obsessed with this one. So wanted to share it with you guys now that I'm done with that book. So exciting stuff. I cannot wait for y'all to see the last part of my TBR series. I am planning on filming and posting every other Sunday. If I have available time or stuff, I may drop additional videos in between. But my goal is to post every other Sunday. So we really appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, like the video, leave me comments down below if there's any other books that you recommend me read, whether it be horror, gothic, or any witchcraft books. And I will see you guys in a couple weeks. I hope you have a great one. Bye.